evening, everyone. Welcome back once again to the Iconis podcast. I'm your host, Barry 3D.
Yo, when I go by the name of DJ Rod C, what's up?
What's up? So, as you heard, maybe watch episode 1, and hopefully if you did, thank you very much. And if not, please like, subscribe, share on the YouTube page. As we're putting these videos up, we're going to put them up once a week. Let everyone know about it. If there's a topic you want to talk about, let us know. A character, a scenario, anything. Send us a comment. We'll talk about it. The more the merrier, as I always say. Mm-hmm. And right now, we're going to talk about what's been on everyone's. Well, maybe at this point, it's been some time has passed, but it's what people are looking for a long time. We're going to talk about the Zack Snyder Justice League cut. Wow. So, Rod, did you like it? Yes or no? Overall, just in general.
Overall, I liked it. Definitely was one of those type of. Listen, we all knew that we expected something big coming from Zack Snyder.
Yeah,
and he didn't fail. He delivered, and it definitely answered a lot of stuff. Once you get into it, once you saw the other one, the other one was good. But this one actually just filled a lot of gaps. So personally, I just say I liked it. What did you think?
I loved it. So first of all, let me just say, if you haven't watched it yet, this will be a heavy spoiler episode. So if that's the case, stop now, walk away. Let's call it a day. We won't be offended. I'd rather you walk away than spoil it for you. And that's it. So this is your time now to back out. This is like, last call for alcohol. This is like the bartender looking at you going, sir, if you have one more drink, you're going to be totally, split. So,
letting you know.
Are you sure? This is when you're at the poker table and you're sitting there with your last $20 and the person saying, sir, we've taken a lot of your money. Are you sure you want to go with that $20? Let's call it a night. Go home. At least you have cab fare to get home. Go home. If you're driving, stop by Mickey D's, get yourself a burger combo or something. And right, this is spoiler heavy. So
here we go.
You've been warned. Now it's on you. So that being said, yes, I absolutely like this cut. And going back into history of certain scenarios, this is not the first time that something like this has happened.
Oh no.
No, and before I get into the whole thing there, let's go back. Let's go back to Superman 2 with Christopher Reeves, right?
Okay.
You have the theatrical release that a lot of people have seen, everyone has seen and watched. But there was also one called the Richard Donner cut.
Correct.
And a lot of fans were pushing for it because Richard Donner was the original director on that movie. He had, he had a different division than what the studio wanted, and then it was dealing with budget. It was how they wanted the story to go as opposed to how he wanted the story to go. And they, once again, very similar. It's not the first time this has happened in the movie. They turned around and said, okay, well, we want to do it this way. And he's like, well, okay, hasta luego. I filmed pretty much 80% or 70% of this movie, or a bit more than that. So they brought in another director, took some of what he filmed, reshot some other stuff, rearranged it. This is when you get Superman taking the S off his chest and throwing it, and it turns into this big transparent thing, and it wraps the villain. Okay, right. If you watch the Richard Donner cut, it makes more sense.
Right.
That gives that famous line of it, kneel before Zod. Yeah. So overall, did I like it? Yes. Yeah, yes, I did. And a lot of people were like, oh man, it's 4 hours long. I'm like, do you know me? Let me tell you something. I'm the type of man. I is a type of man that would sit down there and I would watch Lord of the Rings trilogy extended cut in one evening. So if I can do that, this is a cakewalk. If I'm playing Dungeons and Dragons, that game, just making your character is 4 hours. So forget that. That's longer than that. If I can turn around and play my game Splinter Cell or Hitman, and those are the games I like, and I can play that for a whole day. That's more than 4 hours. So 4 hours to me is like appetizer.
Water under the bridge. Under the bridge.
Exactly. You talk to anyone, most people are like, yo, man, I watch it like 3 times. I'm like, what? I mean 3 different days? No, man, back to back. I'm like, okay, Right.
That's
You finish
it.
work,
Yeah.
especially now with COVID, we ain't going nowhere. So order your pizza, get your food, get your wings, man. Sit down, chill out,
Put your feet up.
watch it.
You're good.
That's it. You watch it once to get the run through and go, oh, okay, cool. Then you watch it again and go, let me scrutinize, right?
Yeah. Yes. So I'm gonna say definitely. I've got a couple of friends just like yourselves who were into it, and they said literally within the first, they didn't realize 2.5 hours already passed. So like, wait a minute, we're at this point already? Oh, okay, cool. I can keep going.
Yeah.
So listen, don't let the 4 hours. Listen, if you're for those, okay, we gave you spoiler warnings to those. So if you are crazy, you still want to put your head over and act like Nielsen, like
Home Improvement, Wilson, yeah.
Thank you. He's like Wilson. Sorry, you're still here. We'll let you know. Don't let the 4 hours fool you. Don't let that worry you. You will get through it. But basically, you will be pulled in. The storyline is very well written. It makes sense, and you can definitely say that from seeing the previous version and you're seeing this version, you're going to see stuff that like now I see why XYZ happened and so forth. So yeah, we can start off from that. So I mean, how do we want to start off? How do you want to start this off?
Okay, let's go back to the basic thing. I made a question, and that's my thing when I started watching this, right? If I watch this movie, I'm going to feel like I'm just watching an extended version of the original movie. And Correct. To me, the answer is no. When you see the familiar scenes that you've seen in the original movie, the Joss Whedon version, right? Mm-hmm. When it comes to those exact scenes, the dialogue is different. Camera angles are different. The action breaks down different. So even though, you see, okay, everyone sees a commercial. Wonder Woman has to deal with a terrorist at the very beginning when she walks in there and they have a bomb, right? Right. Opening scene. And that whole scene was different. Like, just how she, okay, yes, she stopped a couple. So, Joss Whedon, I think if I remember right, his was like Wonder Woman movie kind of, it was a slow-mo scene deflecting a couple of bullets and then throwing the bomb up, This one, Wonder Woman got in there and she's moving like at super speed, blocking bullets. It was totally different. So you're not going to feel like you're rewatching the movie and say, okay, this is new. Oh, I already seen this. This is new. I've seen this. I've seen this. Right. The dialogue is different. Even very, very small shots. If you pay attention, you'll see like one scene stood out was when they were getting Superman's body. Right?
Yes. Yeah.
They're getting Superman's body. And just in that scene, the original one, it's Cyborg and Flash. Right? In Snyder's
version.
Snyder's version, it's Cyborg, Flash, but at the back, there's
Wonder Woman and Cyborg.
Wonder Woman and Aquaman.
No, and Aquaman. Sorry. Aquaman.
Yeah. Sorry. By the truck. So like when you're doing it, it's like, okay, well, you're digging out the body. How are you going to move it? Well, clearly he went and said, well, there's a truck in the background with Wonder Woman and Aquaman not digging it out, and there's that, and then even the dialogue that happened in that scene completely different.
Correct.
Completely different. Yeah,
there were a couple of scenes. I went in not being blinded. Mm-hmm. I wanted to see what am I going to see. That I basically tried to push Josh Whedon's one just to the side. Yeah, and you can see, and again, you're going to see elements of both, but then you're going to realize, oh, this particular storyline, this arc right here, explains how to jump from A to C. This is B. And certain things was changed up. Like I even picked up on, if I remember correctly, in Josh Whedon, again, certain part when Martha and Lois were talking, they were talking at the Daily Planet, saying, like, you know what, I'm glad that you gone back to work, or whatever the case may be along that line. And Zack's, she is still mourning. She's still feeling the effects of it and realizing, why don't you go back to work? I'm talking to you inside your house. Versus you need to get out of your house. You need to bring yourself back to the world. Clark would want you. And I'm like, okay, that was a good piece of dialogue to show that, because in my head, I was even trying to do I was literally trying to do a timestamp. And I know I got to go back and watch it again because I wanted to go in fresh. Mm-hmm. Like you said, I want to go back now. I'm going to go back with the red pen and start to do numbers because I'm going to want to know from the time he passed, how long did it take Bruce to start gathering the team? From the time he passed, how long was Lois off work?
Right.
Stuff like that maybe make no sense to other people, but to me, I want to make sure that story weeded and made sense, and it weeded in and out, and it was did very smoothly, and I was like very happy for that. The 4 hours was water for me.
Oh, it was okay. So let's break it down, right? So that particular scene, that there. Now we always heard there was supposed to be a guest appearance of certain other characters in there, and they were never in Joss Whedon's. In that scene, we already did our disclaimer. So if you're watching now, you're on your own. With that particular scene, when she goes to the house and Lois has a conversation with Martha, she's not talking with Martha.
No, she's not.
No, she's talking with John Jones, the Martian Manhunter, because he's a shape changer.
And I was like, oh, yes, beautiful.
You know, it can only get better if he asks for an Oreo cookie. If he asks for an Oreo cookie, because that's what he loves to eat, like the Justice League comic book, you know, with if you watch, read those ones, right? Some of the old, oh my God, okay. Anyways, so he goes there. So it was him that says, "Hey, I got to kind of get certain people back up and going." So he didn't even talk to Martha. Now, I'm not even sure if how that played out. I got to rewatch it again to see, right? So what I noticed is that one, it was John Jones talking to Lois as Martha, because he's a shapeshifter.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
When I looked at the actress that was playing Lois, right, as opposed to the original time, I'm like, okay, I noticed little things. So I looked at her face, and her face was a little bit more rounder. And I'm thinking, okay, maybe the actress just put on some weight. It was a reshoot and all that. But when she opened her drawer, what did I see? A pregnancy test. She's preggers. It's confirmed. In this one, she is pregnant with Clark's kid. You know, just like that, Rapper's Delight, they bust you over that super sperm. Okay? And he confirmed it on his Twitter feed in an interview that she is pregnant, early pregnancy. That's why she's got the pregnancy test. So,
listen,
right?
I like that. Like I said, I have to go back and watch that. So now I got some stuff to be looking for.
See, so yeah, because I saw that, I was like, no, they ain't gonna go there. Yeah, Snyder went there. I'm like, yeah, boy. So that scene, I was amazing. That was, I want to know more about why John didn't come forward when all this was going forth. That's the only thing.
Right.
So I know the original history for the John Jones is like, he comes to Earth. He kind of somewhat ends up getting captured, so to speak. He gets, he learns from the scientist that's holding him captive, about Earth culture and all that. He kind of picks up on his own. That scientist dies. He moves out. He escapes. And he blends in. And he takes up the John Jones. That's his name in the comic book. And and one of his personas is he's a detective. That's always what they made him to be.
Correct. Yep.
Right? He joins the police force. He's a detective. He goes solving crimes. And that was it. In the Justice League cartoon and Justice League Unlimited cartoon, they even expanded on that a little bit more. And in the comic book, where it said he has multiple personalities.
Right.
So in one of them, if you remember Justice League Unlimited, he was there, and then Diana was saying, hey, you don't ever come to Earth anymore. You always stay on the satellite. You never come down. Right. And I'm not trying to get long-winded on this, but he says, I have to reconnect with humanity. So he leaves the team, and he assumes the identity of an Asian man, I think it is, an older Asian man, when he gets to Earth. So you find out that he was an Asian man. He was a woman. He was, all these different things, and he's held lives. And one of them, he got into a relationship with someone, but as an older couple. So he didn't even try to play a young guy. He's a shape changer. He wanted to get with somebody. So that was a big moving on point for him, knowing his history, that he was the last person of Mars, right? Green Martian of Mars, right? I'll be very, and he came to Earth and he blended in, and he's lost his family during, a war over there. So that was nice to see. I just want to know. And in this one, he's a general. That's one of his identities. Yeah. Now in Joss Whedon's, you see the actor who plays him, right? But they never make him come out saying he's John Jones. In this one, he comes out fully doing it.
Right.
Yeah, just those couple of minutes, that scene, it
made a difference.
Huge.
Made a complete difference.
10 minutes. Martian Manhunter shows up. You see him take on his, Martha Kent, then takes on his true identity, then turns back into the general when he's walking out of her apartment, right, in the hallway. We know Lois is pregnant with Clark's kid.
Yep.
And that was just a couple of minutes. So that there, boom, blew my mind. I mean, there was a nice fluidity to the whole thing. Like everything from opening sequence. Okay, it's Wonder Woman dealing with her stuff. And then the scene where Bruce is going to get Aquaman,
Right.
the very first time in that town. You see how he gets there. They talk about how he gets there.
Right.
You see Bruce on a horse on the mountains, and it's winter, and he's got his jacket on, and they're like, "How'd you get here?" It's like, "I climbed the mountain," and they all start laughing. It's like, "What? There's no transportation. There's it's a 6-day trek away by horse. How'd you get here?" "Over the mountain." And Bruce is like, "No, I really came over the mountain."
Yeah, I can do that. Oh, okay.
Right? So it's all these little and these little things add up to something big.
Mm-hmm.
So I like the whole fact of how that played out. The whole Flashpoint. So first of all, the characters got a lot more depth.
Okay, let's say I'm going to agree with you on that. I'm going to agree with you on both. Two people. Flash.
Yes.
Barry Allen I was quite happy that they didn't portray him to be a completely bumbling idiot.
No, he wasn't comic relief.
He was comic relief,
but not as extreme as he was in Joss.
That was the difference there. I am happy that he was comic relief, but he wasn't just seemed like he was just like, he didn't have the sense that made me think then, how could you at the end of it all now come with a piece of paper on your window and say, "Hey, I got a job working in a crime lab, maybe entry level, but I'm inside." You could not be the Barry Allen we expect you to be with that type of mindset beforehand. So I had a problem with that. With this one, I can see him now having the possibility to actually become that type of person. His character be able to develop into that particular mind frame in that I said. So I'm good with that.
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna even flip now to me personally to Bruce Wayne.
Yes.
Ben Affleck. In this movie, I was like, okay, now I'm seeing who Bruce Wayne should be. In the first one, he just seemed like he was just angry. He was just constantly angry as a layoff from Batman versus Superman. And even in that movie, he was just like, okay, you're angry. You're just too angry for no reason.
Yeah.
This one, he basically was looking like, I'm asking for redemption. I promise him on his death that I'm going to make it up to him.
Yes.
To our planet and be a better man. So you can see the remorse of him trying to going through whatever means to create and make this alliance of getting these heroes together. I liked it that he was very. You can see the slight detective in him, where he was like his mind is working, and I would appreciate that.
So that yes, and the fact that you nailed it on the head. He made a promise on that death that he's going to be, Superman's death, that he's going to be a better person. Right. We know what's the root of Bruce Wayne. If he makes a vow, it is written in stone. Oh. He made a vow to his parents, and look how he's still carrying on that vow in his own way, and that's why we have Batman. He made a vow that no other kid will go through what he went through, that he's going to bring down crime in Gotham. Okay, and now he's thinking on the larger scale. He knows he needs a team. I like the fact of the little flirtatious part with him and Diana, Wonder Woman, because they did touch about that in the comic book, but it didn't get, it wasn't distracting. So he made that vow on for Superman, for everything he'd done. He knows he made a mistake, shows he's human. He really was the glue. Like Ben Affleck was Batman. I mean, he really did a kick-ass job as Bruce and Batman. It shows more so. And when I say he's the glue, so yes, they make Batman trying to bring the whole team together, right? Okay, fine. You always need one person.
Right.
What I liked is the touch on Flashpoint. Now we'll get back to this later on. So when Flash comes in, it's like, Lois is a key. Okay. In Joss Whedon, Lois is a key. All right, Lois is a key. I got to get Lois, bring out the big guns. What? The big gun, And Lois shows up, and okay, that scene plays out.
Right. Oh, let's not even go for that. Yep. Go on.
This one, Lois is a key. All right, doesn't get explained to the very end of the movie. Now, if you are if you're a casual person of the comic books, then what I really suggest is, Justice League, you know who they are. Okay, that's fine. You have to read Flashpoint or watch the Flashpoint cartoon to get a better idea of what could come and stuff like that. And then you have to read the Injustice comic book. So Injustice, yes, it is a video game, but there is also a comic book, an ongoing comic book for Injustice. So if you read Injustice, the first couple of issues, you know, the first 3 issues, you get what happens for what happens in that epilogue scene, you know, at the very end of the Justice League movie, and it ties up. And if you look at the New 52, you'll see about, you know, Deathstroke almost kind of in that kind of particular role, and certain characters being in that role. So that was really awesome that he fleshed it out right to completion to see. So I really suggest, okay, Justice League, you know, you watch the movies, we're good. All right. Watch or read Flashpoint. For those that don't know it, that's with, you know, Barry Allen, The Flash. Read the book or watch the movie. It's always on TV, depending on what your stations are. You could stream it, rent it, buy it, whatever case it be, support it. You know, that's really a good edition of that. And then, you know, the Injustice video game. If you've played it, great. If not, then either play the game or turn around and just find the Injustice comic book and read that. You know, and you'll get what happens at the end and why this all sums up so nicely.
Right. Now, I'm going to say, like, I'm the type of person who, when I'm watching a scene, I want stuff to make sense.
Yes.
You brought up a good point, reminding me about bring out the big guns. Even at that time, during that particular version, the West version, bring out the big guns. That means you had an inkling of understanding that there's a possible. I know Barry made the little gold nugget, little thought process thing like Pet Cemetery. If we bring him back, what if it's Pet Cemetery and, you know, his mind might not be there type of scenario? Right. That's why you have the guns. But how much were you banking on that in that first one? That's why I was kind of looking. I was trying to see, okay, are they going to use the same scene, or what? How is Zack going to use it? And then you just see her happen to be just walking out, going away, and then you see the explosion. Hey, that came from the ship. As much as I'm being disconnected from the world, that's when her reporter instinct had to kick in.
Yes. Yeah.
I have to find out what's going on over there.
Yeah.
So she had to walk over there. So it's perfect that she walked over there in time to see him. And then blur out his name. I'm like, Clark. I'm like, what? Don't let people know his name.
Yeah, exactly. That's
okay.
the only thing. It's like, don't give out the secret identity.
Hey, come on. I was like, even in the first one, they did this. I kept the same scene, but they brought that out.
The only thing that's my only. And I'll let you go on, but that's my only thing that kind of went right. I would have been more appreciative if she didn't yell it, but whispered it, because with his hearing, he would have picked it up. If
he would have picked it up.
Clark, what are you doing? Clark.
Right.
He would have picked it up bright as day, and he'd be like, "Oh, okay."
Or she should be just smart enough. Just call Superman.
Kal-El.
You know what? No! At this point, he should know Kal-El, but at least she should be at least conscious of, like, saying, "I'm going to call out."
I get she wanted to, you know, but yeah, you're right. She could have gone, "Superman, Clark, what are you doing?" If she whispered it, that would have been smart, right? Because then, like, okay, the cops are around; they're not really going to hear and say, "Why is she calling out Clark?" It doesn't. Clark can't work with her. Right. But I get what you're saying. Right. So go on.
Yeah. So I mean, that was those little parts were like, I'm happy that she was there, able to calm down the beast, because basically it worked out.
Yeah, they got lucky because she wasn't supposed to be there.
She wasn't. That's what I'm saying. Because to me, that was very realistic. Like, they didn't bring no Pet Cemetery type of comment, because you're not really trying to think that. They're thinking the idea is that the mother box or the no, because he didn't say there was a mother box at that point. So Cyborg saved the mother box. I'm just making sure I'm not jumping ahead by the naming.
Yeah.
So he already said that the mother box has the possibility of bringing back life. All they're concerning at that point is bringing back life. They're not thinking any Pet Cemetery. They ain't thinking that the man's going to be kind of warped. It's not like he's coming out of the Lazarus pits and he's going to be, none of that.
Exactly.
So you're thinking, we're going to do this. He's going to come back. He's going to wake up. Yo, why you guys bring me back? Okay, what do we got to do? And I appreciate that particular line later on, because it was perfect. Because I personally thought, again, he flies off, no shirt. Then you see him in the cornfield. He has a jacket on, and he just, and all that kind of stuff. But then you see inside, landing outside, completely topless again, go inside the house. I guess, and it makes sense. Martha, the place it's foreclosed. She got to take what she can. So she ain't grabbing everything. So there's happened to be a jacket inside. She's still moving. So there's stuff that That's still inside there. So when I saw him give a shirt, I'm like, okay, that makes sense how he got the shirt. Yep. And then he said the sensible thing. There must have been a reason why they brought me back.
Because he's not a stupid person. No.
He isn't.
Because it goes, see, that shows more of his character, right? He's not an angry person. He's not going to come on and say, oh, man, you guys screwed me over. I'm going to fight everybody. No, that's not going to throw him over the edge. He's going to come back and say, okay, they did it for a reason. And it, as simple as it is, I have to find out what it was, you know? And I like that he went back to his ship. He's walking past all the costumes.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
And he put on the black one.
Yeah.
Let me pause here for a second.
Yeah, go ahead.
If you're just a casual person listening to the show, and this is great. Thank you. Welcome. Awesome. But then you have to pick up the death of Superman. This was covered in Newsweek. This was covered all, you know, this was such a big event, the original death of Superman. So if you watch even if you watch, you can watch it. It's once again, they have videos on everything, right? There's an animated video called The Death of Superman. The real main important thing is not so much the death of Superman you need to watch. You have to watch Reign of the Superman.
Reign of the Superman. Yep.
That's right. Watch Reign of the Superman and you'll understand the significance of the black costume in there. So we're good. All right. Thank you.
Okay, no problem. But yes, so
always been on black.
Okay. So I mean, this is where I know I'm gonna have to go back and watch this because I'm going to say there's stuff in there that I saw that I was like, I question, but then there's stuff that makes sense. So I'm gonna have to make my little pad of what, you know, the pros and cons of both. But I will definitely say that there's certain little homage, like. I'm really trying to remember, and I don't think it happened in the Joss Whedon when Lois was just before that scene, just before he popped off, like he came back to life. The cop that got shot there,
right? You
know who that cop is? You don't know who the police officer is?
No, I must have missed out.
So the police officer from the police officer, next time go and check it out again. So when you see that police officer is actually Jimmy Olsen from the Rich Donner Superman. So, but I knew that from beforehand. So from the Joss Whedon one, so when he's in the cop, like whatever the case to be, and he comes out when everybody's fighting and he gets shot or get put aside. I can't remember exactly how it Joss Whedon went. But this is, to me, the only reason, God bless his soul, the reason why he was in that movie. So he was in Zack's movie because when Lois came and gave him the coffee.
Yes.
If he listened.
Yes.
Thank you, Miss Lane. It's the way he says it. It is Jimmy. It's Jimmy.
So
it is already.
That's a Jimmy Olsen from the Superman 2 with Christopher Reeves.
Right. So they just wanted to have him say that line. That's the only reason why he's there. And I got no problem for him to be there just to say that line.
Well, it's like Crisis of Infinite Earths when they brought back the reporter who was Knox, right? And so remember,
okay, Knox.
When they're doing the Crisis of Infinite Earths, and you have Knox from the Michael Keaton movie. He was the reporter, and he looks up and he goes, "Oh, okay, they're calling him again." And I'm like, "Oh, they brought in Knox! Oh, wow, I didn't realize that was him."
Yeah, that was the same. That was the same because I knew he was there from the same actor, so they did the same cut. But for him to say that, there got to be a reason why he's going to say, "Oh, thanks, Miss Lane." That's it. Wow. Just to say that line and be the cop.
That's nice. I like that.
And that was a perfect homage. That's a deep cut. And for those who will know and remember, I'm like, they'll see the polarity later on. So
even though we're doing the show, I didn't know. So you know what? I learned something today. Hey, what did you learn today? Hey. You're gonna learn today. Yeah. So okay, that's flipping awesome, though, man. I like that when they do stuff like that. That it's the little, the big things and it's the small things.
And again, I'm jumping all over the place, and I know I'm gonna have to sit down and watch this out. So talk about certain things that I liked about Joss Whedon that you see when Steppenwolf came in, when he got the second box, and he set up camp in the nuclear plant, and he told his minions, he told the my gosh, I just went blank. When he told the minions go and search it, they'll be able to smell it. It makes sense because they went to where it was always where did they get the scent from? The scent was in the box that was at Star Lab. So it makes a valid reason why in the second one they were going there. Because in my head, if you're looking for it, how did they know it was there in the first place? It makes it by him stating they will basically my terror demons, they will be able to smell it and follow the scent. So it makes sense. So then you go to the second place that it smelled was the house. Hence the reason why it was there. But when he got distracted because some car alarm was coming out, but Vic was there ready, and he looked like, wait, my hand could do that? What? Then that was another joke, which I liked, that they basically start to learn development on Victor, gave him more time. Again, this is stuff that was probably there before, but I can understand Josh. Josh is taking over the reins of someone else's ship. He's like, you know what? I need to make it my own. I can't use that. I'm not going to use that. I'm not going to.
And the studio's going to say, look, this is going for theatrical release, so you got to do it within 2 hours. So you get a lot of. So I think the smart thing was putting it on and give it to us. HBO kind of thing, Crave, whatever you got, watch it and do it that way. To get the full, as a hardcore fan, we will sit through for the 4 hours. I know they won't put 4 hours and whatever in a movie theater, but at home and released on streaming services, I think it was a smart thing to do, and that could really jumpstart a lot, in my opinion, what the DC thing is. Going back to what you're saying about Steppenwolf, the boxes, the parademons, you know me, and there's certain characters that speak to me, right? And I loved, like, the actor himself was so happy that Snyder was doing his cut, because this actor filmed all the scenes originally, but when he heard that none of his stuff was being used, he had he signed an NDA, so he couldn't even put that on his resume. So this is a particular actor, I can't remember his name, I have to look it up, but he played Darkseid. He did the voice of Darkseid.
Oh,
yeah.
Yes. Okay.
So I know, if you're looking and watching this and listening to this, I know everyone's going to say, oh, well, Darkseid is just a clone of Thanos. If you know the source material, it's the other way around. So Thanos, but Darkseid, Desaad, Steppenwolf, Granny Goodness, she was there even though okay.
I was happy when I saw her there. I'm like, okay, all right.
Let me just put it this way. These are characters that were created by Jack the King Kirby. So Jack Kirby was working at Marvel Comics at the time. Jack Kirby, you would recognize his art style. It looks very squarish at times, but it's so unique. It's so nice to read and watch his stuff. And he created pretty much the bulk of the Marvel universe, with a pencil and his imagination. So Jack Kirby drew every character DC Marvel. So Jack Kirby was working at Marvel, wanted to do more with gods and stuff like that. And they were saying, no, we want to go this way. He was like, okay. And then DC said, hey, why don't you come over here and do some stuff for us? So Jack Kirby went over to DC, created the fourth world. So that's Darkseid, Orion, Light Ray, Granny Goodness, Desaad, Steppenwolf, and the list goes on. Apocalypse, New Genesis, the whole Mr. Miracle, Big Barda. He created all of them. Like, it was like his brain exploded. Yeah, someone I see create characters that fast is Eric Larson with Savage Dragon. Every issue he'll create a new character and then kill him off and then do another one. So this was really taking me back. So Darkseid existed before Thanos, even though Thanos was used more or in obviously in the Marvel movies, right? He got his debut first, but so the actor couldn't say anything about it because they didn't use him. But now with the Snyder cut come out, he's in there. Right. Darkseid he's that wicked of a character. He's him and Orion, the new gods, and the new gods are descendant of the old gods, and how they touched about in the book is that the old gods were the Vikings, like the Norse gods, so they're descendants of Odin and Thor okay, so back on track, right? When you're talking all the characters that they introduced within this whole series. So first of all, let's go back and break it down. So Flash had a lot more oomph, a lot more meat to his story. If you remember the scene where he's going for that part-time job working with dogs and all that, right?
Yes.
Okay, so he's in there.
Yeah,
that was great, and he was doing it. And then the girl comes out. He makes eye contact with the girl. The girl's getting in the car. Car can't start. Boom, accident. He goes, saves her. That's Iris West.
Yep.
Yes. So and she's coming back. That same actress is coming back to play Iris West in the Flashpoint movie. So established. This is canon. Right? We got our Flash. Right? You if you go more with his dad, all that stuff. Right? That's canon. When Bruce Wayne is having that nightmare, and he has that nightmare vision for half a second, and he sees like the Flash's face saying, Lois is the key. This goes back to the end. So the Flash has a lot of importance, more importance in this than he did in Whedon's cut. He's got a lot more going on to do like that. Beautiful. Wonder Woman's journey is great with the Amazons and how she handled it. And it ties in very well with her movies, her standalone movies here. This ties in very well. Aquaman, a lot more meat. What I saw, they brought in William Dafoe and Amber Heard, to play Vulko and Mira.
Mira, yeah.
Mira. There was a lot more to it, and I'm like, okay. And he explained it, and then the fact that they talked about and I know I mentioned before, when they were doing the scene where they're getting Superman's body, and you have, Princess Diana, Wonder Woman with Aquaman talking by the truck, and she's giving him history lessons about their people, saying, hey, here we are together, but, Amazons and Atlanteans don't get along. We've been at war for a long time. And his answer was, oh, really? I had no idea, because I'm only half Atlantean, and they even cast me out. So we can hate on them together. Right. This goes beautiful. Yeah, this goes back to the Flashpoint, where if you read those books and all that and see why the Atlanteans are fighting the Amazons or vice versa, it's a little bit of that distrust. And of course, there was more to it that, Aquaman was married and he had an affair with Wonder Woman, and then he decided to go back to his wife, and she felt jilted, and it just kind of, that was the catalyst of it. But, this is Flashpoint, right? So I that was well done. Superman coming back, well done. The fight scenes, and then it's the other characters you didn't expect to come in. Like when they brought in Cho, you see him at Star Labs, and then
I'm putting two and two together there. I'm like, okay, Cho's there.
Yeah, so he's the second Atom. Not right. There was Ray Palmer. And then the second Atom who takes up the mantle is Cho. And he's working already at Star Labs, and they mentioned that you're working with nanotechnology.
Right. We'll just leave it right there. The possibilities are endless at that point. So that was beautiful. Bringing in Slade at the end, having that nice connection right now, just that was even much deeper than the previous cut.
That's my favorite villain. Deathstroke the Terminator. That's my favorite villain. What I was saying for a joke was the guy who plays Cyborg's dad. Right? Yeah. Victor Stone's dad.
Yeah.
That actor has no luck, eh? They always bring him in to play the smart guy, but he has no luck. Think about it. Think about it for half a second, right? He played Victor Stone's dad. Mm-hmm. He dead. Mm-hmm. He was in Star Trek Voyager playing Tuvok. Right? They gave him dementia. They cured it, but they gave him dementia because he kind of went crazy. If you watch the full series, that was him. If you go back even before that, he was in Terminator 2. He was the doctor that worked at Cyberdyne and was making the chip and the arm. And that's when, she break in his house, shoot him, and then says, well, I can't kill you because it's your wife and your kid are here. And okay, we got to go to Cyberdyne and get rid of the chip and the arm. And he did. They killed him there too.
He did
out. So he always plays the smart scientist kind of guy, but then he always gets killed or shafted or something at the end.
Hilarious. Listen, so what we got to do, we got a lot of stuff to talk about this. As you can tell, this whole thing is just definitely going into, there's so many little fine tuning stuff and big chunks of nuggets in this thing that we're definitely going to have to just make this as a part 2.
Okay, so we're going to do a part 2 of this. Okay, so because we got to talk about what happens at the very end. So
exactly.
All right, so we're going to leave this off here, right?
Yeah.
Thank you all for listening. Please like, subscribe, share. You can follow me. You can find me, Barry3D. I'm on Instagram, barry3d.com. That's my website. Find my links. Follow me. Share it. Rod, where can you find you?
You can find me on Instagram as Mr. Rod C. I'm on Twitch as DJ Rod C. Facebook at DJ Rod C. Listen, I'm all over. You can find me. I'm all over the place.
Excellent. So find us, check it out, support, and we're going to be putting out more. So we're going to do a part 2 of this video because we want to talk about the end of the movie and to get a little bit more detailed. So we're all going to rewatch it, and we're gonna come back and do some more on that, and then some other characters and scenarios or whoever else. So once again, thank you. This is the Iconis podcast.
There you go.
One love.
One love.
One love. One love. Thanks.
Night.